Everyone's building for San Francisco. That's the problem. While founders are crowding into the same overhyped AI categories fighting over venture capital and Silicon Valley validation, there are 7,000 small towns in America literally begging for basic software that just works. Not blockchain meditation apps. Not another AI productivity tool for remote teams. I'm talking about boring web apps that solve real problems for people who still use fax machines and paper calendars. The common take is that big markets equal big opportunities. Everyone wants to build the next Notion or the next Stripe. They want TechCrunch articles and seed rounds and demo day pitches. But here's the contrarian reality nobody talks about. The most profitable web apps in 2026 won't be venture-backed. They'll be small, focused tools solving unglamorous problems in markets Silicon Valley deliberately ignores. Because venture capital has a blind spot, and that blind spot is called profitability without scale. VCs need billion-dollar outcomes to make their fund math work. So they ignore markets that can only generate $5 or $10 or $50,000 a month. But you know who doesn't ignore those markets? Solo founders who want to replace their salary and actually own their time. First one, appointment booking for local clinics. Walk into any small-town medical clinic and watch what happens when someone calls to book an appointment. Someone picks up a physical phone, flips through a paper calendar, writes down a name with a pen, then manually calls that patient the day before to remind them. This isn't charming small business nostalgia. This is a $15,000 a year operational bottleneck disguised as customer service. Because here's what most people don't realize about small clinics. They have no-show rates between 15 and 30%. Every missed appointment is lost revenue they can't recover. The doctor's time was blocked. The room was reserved. The staff prepared. And then nobody showed up. Now multiply that by 20 or 30 appointments a week. You're looking at thousands of dollars in completely preventable losses. But here's the thing. These clinics know there's software for this. They've looked. They've Googled it. But every solution they find is either built for enterprise hospitals with features they don't need and price tags they can't afford, or it's generic booking software that doesn't handle medical-specific workflows like insurance verification or HIPAA compliance or even basic chart integration. So what do? They keep using the paper calendar. Not because it's good, because it's the least bad option they've found. This is the gap. The pain is real. The intent to fix it exists, but there is literally no good solution built specifically for their world. So here's the web app. You build appointment booking for small clinics, not ZocDoc, not a full practice management system. Just booking, reminders, and basic availability management. Think Calendly for doctors with just enough medical context to be worth paying for. You charge $99 to $199 per month per clinic. Get 10 clinics and you're at $1,000 to $2,000 in monthly recurring revenue. And here's the beautiful part. Small towns usually have 3 to 5 clinics each. Pediatrics, family medicine, urgent care, maybe a dental office. Once you sign one, the others hear about it. Because small town business owners talk. They go to the same Chamber of Commerce meetings. Their kids play on the same sports teams. Word spreads fast in tight communities. That's your distribution advantage. Not paid ads. Not cold outreach. Just one happy clinic owner telling another one over coffee that they finally found software that actually works. But here's what nobody tells you about building clinic software. Second idea, inventory management for hardware stores. You know what killed most clinic booking startups in the early 2000s? They built for features, not for adoption. ZocDoc tried to own the entire healthcare booking market by building this massive platform with provider networks and insurance integration and patient reviews. It worked in cities. But in rural markets? Small clinics took one look at the onboarding process and said no thanks. Too complicated. Too expensive. Too much change management for a 5-person staff. So if you build clinic software, the differentiator isn't features. It's implementation simplicity. Can their receptionist set it up in an afternoon without calling support? That's the real product. Anyway, let's talk about hardware stores because this one's wild. You know what's crazy? Amazon has been trying to kill hardware stores for 15 years. They've failed. Because people still need to see the actual screw before they buy it. They still need to ask someone which drill bit works for concrete. Hardware stores survived the e-commerce apocalypse, but they're dying from a completely different problem. Inventory chaos. Go into your local Ace Hardware or independent tool shop. Ask them how they track inventory. I guarantee you it's one of two things. Either an ancient DOS system from 1997 that looks like it runs on a microwave, or more likely it's Excel spreadsheets that 3 different employees update differently because nobody trained anyone and everyone just kind of figured it out. Now, on the surface, this doesn't seem like a huge problem. Hardware stores have been around forever. They've survived big box competition. They know their customers. They'll be fine, right? Wrong! Because what you don't see from the outside is how much money they're losing on inventory decisions. They're constantly running out of popular items during peak season because nobody noticed the stock was low until a customer asked for it. They're over-ordering slow movers because someone just guessed based on gut feeling. They can't easily see what's actually selling versus what's sitting on shelves collecting dust. And when it comes time to reorder, they're making $20,000 purchasing decisions based on incomplete data and institutional memory. This is not a small problem. This is a profit margin problem disguised as an operational inconvenience. But here's where it gets interesting. When you talk to hardware store owners, they're desperate for better systems. Like genuinely desperate. They know they're leaving money on the table. They've looked at inventory software, but everything they find is either built for big box retailers with complicated integrations and multi-location features they don't need, or it's generic inventory tools that don't understand hardware-specific categorization. Because tools aren't just products with SKUs. They have specific attributes that matter. Thread count, material type, size variations, seasonal demand patterns, supplier lead times. None of the generic inventory software handles this well, so they stick with Excel. Not because it's good, because it's the least bad option they've found. That's your gap. You build inventory management specifically for small hardware stores. Scan items with a phone. Get low stock alerts before you run out. See sales patterns by category and season. Generate reorder lists based on actual data instead of guesswork. That's it. Nothing fancy. Just functional software that understands their world. You charge $149 per month per store. Hardware stores have decent margins and they already spend thousands on inventory every month. Your $149 is a rounding error if it prevents even one bad purchasing mistake. And here's the thing about hardware stores. They're in every small town. They're independently owned. And they all have the exact same problem. Once you build this, you're not selling to one store. You're selling to an entire category of businesses that nobody else is serving well. Hi, I'm Fariha. I share web app ideas in underserved markets that can get you to $10,000 per month. I'm launching the first version of my own validation tool on January 30th, so I'm right here building with you. New ideas every 10 days. Subscribe and let's jump in. Idea number 3, route optimization for delivery services. I talked to a heating oil delivery owner last month. His name's Jim. He runs 3 trucks covering a 50-mile radius in upstate New York. And he told me something that blew my mind. He said every winter he loses about $12,000 in wasted fuel and labor because his routes are inefficient. Not because his drivers are bad, because route planning is a nightmare. Every morning, someone sits down with Google Maps and a list of addresses and manually sequences the deliveries based on gut instinct and whatever worked last time. Sometimes they get it right. Sometimes they waste an hour backtracking because they didn't realize 2 stops were near each other. Sometimes they miss delivery windows because the route order was inefficient and now the customer's upset and they have to come back tomorrow. Jim knows this is costing him money. He's looked for route optimization software. But here's what he found. Enterprise-level solutions that cost $500+ per month and require integration with dispatch systems he doesn't have. Or gig economy tools built for Instacart shoppers that don't fit his recurring customer model. There's nothing in between. Nothing built for regular delivery businesses that just needs simple route optimization without all the real-time dispatch complexity. So he keeps planning routes manually. Because at least it's free. And he's not alone. There's the propane delivery guy. The feed store that delivers to farms. The medical supply company running oxygen tanks to home patients. All of them have the same problem. All of them are losing thousands a month. And none of them have a good solution. Here's the web app. Route optimization for recurring delivery businesses. You give them a list of this week's deliveries. The system generates the most efficient sequence. They follow it. Done. no real-time GPS tracking, no customer-facing apps, no complicated integrations. Just here are your 40 deliveries this week, and here's the best order to run them in. You charge $199 per month. Why? Because a single business with 3 drivers wasting an hour a day on inefficient routes is losing $3,000 to $5,000 monthly in labor costs alone. Your tool saves them that. It's not a hard sell, it's basic math. And the beautiful thing about this market is that it's invisible. Nobody's writing TechCrunch articles about propane delivery optimization. Nobody's pitching VCs on heating oil route efficiency, which means nobody's competing for these customers. You could own this entire category just by showing up and building something that works. Speaking of invisible markets, contractors are drowning in paperwork that nobody's solving. And the numbers on this one are absolutely wild. Fourth idea, permit tracking for contractors. Contractors waste an average of 8 hours per week on permit-related administrative work. Let me say that again. 8 hours. Every single week. That's 32 hours a month. At $50 an hour labor cost, that's $1,600 in pure administrative overhead per contractor per month. $19,200 per year. Per contractor. Just shuffling paperwork. And most of that time is spent on things that could be automated. Tracking which permits need which inspections. Remembering when inspections are scheduled. Following up with permit offices. Updating clients on permit status. Digging through text messages, trying to find that one conversation with the building inspector from 3 weeks ago. It's not skilled work. It's just tedious coordination that has to happen or projects stall. And when projects stall, everything cascades. The crew sits around waiting. The homeowner gets anxious. The next project gets delayed. One missed permit inspection can push a timeline back a week, which delays the next project, which makes the next client unhappy. The cost compounds fast. This isn't an inconvenience. This is a profit margin problem disguised as just how construction works. But here's what's interesting. Contractors know this is a problem. They've tried using project management software like Asana or Monday, but those tools are built for tech projects, not construction permits. They don't understand the specific workflow of permit applications, inspection schedules, and municipal requirements that vary by county. So contractors end up with this Frankenstein system of spreadsheets and reminders and text threads and just trying to keep it all in their head. It works until it doesn't. And when it doesn't, it costs them thousands. Here's the web app. Permit tracking for small contractors. Not full project management. Just permits. You add a project, you add the required permits. The system tracks status, upcoming inspections, and deadlines. It sends automatic reminders 3 days before each inspection. It keeps all the paperwork in one place. That's it. Simple, focused, valuable. You charge $79 to $129 per month per contractor. Small contractors already pay for expensive tools and insurance. This is cheap insurance against project delays. If it saves them even 2 hours a week, it's paid for itself 5 times over. And the best part? Once one contractor in a town starts using it, their subs hear about it. The electrician sees the general contractor's system. The plumber asks what software they're using. Word spreads through the trades faster than you'd think. Because contractors talk to each other on job sites. They complain about the same problems. And when someone finds a solution that actually works, everyone wants it. Okay, pause for a second. Before we keep going, I need to tell you something important. Because I've given you 4 web app ideas so far, and honestly, all of them sound good on paper. Clinics need booking software. Hardware stores need inventory tools. Delivery services need route optimization. Contractors need permit tracking. The pain is real. The intent exists. But here's what I didn't tell you. Not every small town has the same needs. Not every clinic wants new software. Not every contractor has the same problems. Just because an idea sounds good doesn't mean your specific version of it will work in your specific target market. And this is where most founders waste months of their life. They pick an idea that makes sense logically. They start building. They get excited. And then, 6 months later, they realize nobody actually wants what they made. Not because the idea was bad, because they didn't validate the specific pain, intent, and gap signals before they started. That's why I built Found a Friend. It's a validation tool that analyzes startup ideas using what I call tri-signal logic. It measures pain signals, intent signals, and gap signals and tells you whether to proceed, fix, or kill your idea. It doesn't encourage you. It doesn't give you generic feedback like, oh, this could work or you should try this. It investigates your idea like a skeptical journalist and gives you a verdict based on actual market signals. And here's the thing. I'm opening up the waitlist right now. And the first 100 people who join before January 30th are getting 2 free validation reports worth $38. Because I want you to test your ideas before you waste time building the wrong thing. Link is in the pinned comment. Join the waitlist. Get your free validations. And make sure the idea you pick actually has real market signals before you write a single line of code. Alright, back to the ideas. Idea 5. Waitlist management for small restaurants. You know what's crazy? Restaurants solved reservations decades ago. You call ahead, they write your name down, you show up at 7, your table's ready. But nobody solved waitlists. And waitlists are where the chaos actually lives. Friday night, 7 p.m., 15 people standing outside a small restaurant waiting for tables. And the host is juggling a clipboard and a Sharpie trying to remember who arrived when and how long the wait actually is. This is not fine dining. This is family restaurants, diners, local spots that don't take reservations. They just have a wait list. And that wait list is complete chaos. Because manual waitlist management creates real problems. Groups get skipped because the host forgot they were waiting. Wait, time estimates are wildly wrong because nobody's actually tracking table turnover. Customers leave because they don't know if it's really going to be 20 minutes or an hour. And the host is stressed out trying to manage a crowd while also seating people and answering phone calls. The experience is bad for everyone. But here's what's interesting. Small restaurants know this is a problem. They've looked at systems like Yelp, Waitlist, or OpenTable. But those platforms come with hidden costs. Commission fees on every reservation, marketing requirements, complex setups that require tablets and training, and integration with their POS system. It's too much for a 20-table restaurant that just needs a simple way to manage the Friday night rush. So they stick with the clipboard. Not because it's good, because everything else is worse. That's your opportunity. You build that simple waitlist management. Customer walks in. Host adds their name on a tablet. System estimates wait time based on current table turnover. Customer gets an SMS when their table's ready. Done. No app downloads. No customer accounts. No commission fees. Just waitlist functionality. $49 per month flat fee. Why so cheap? Because small restaurants operate on thin margins. But they'll pay $49 a month if it reduces walkouts and improves the customer experience. Get 20 restaurants in your region and you're at $1,000 in monthly recurring revenue. And here's the beautiful thing about restaurants. They're clustered. Every small town has a main street with 5 or 6 restaurants within walking distance. The owners know each other. They see each other's solutions. Once you get one, the others notice, and suddenly you're not selling to one restaurant. You're becoming the waitlist solution for that entire downtown area. Alright, let me rapid fire the last 2 because they follow the same logic but hit different markets. Idea 6. Vendor scheduling for event venues. Here's the pattern. Every wedding or conference needs 5 to 10 vendors. Caterers, photographers, DJs, florists, rental companies. Coordinating all of them is email chain hell. The venue manager sends an email to the caterer. 3 days later, they realize they forgot to CC the photographer. The DJ responds asking what time load-in is. The florist has a conflict and needs to come an hour earlier. But that conflicts with the caterer's setup time. Now the venue manager is playing Tetris with everyone's schedule across 12 events per month. They've tried Google Calendar and project management tools, but nothing handles the specific workflow of vendor confirmations, timeline conflicts, and mass updates. The web app is a vendor coordination hub. Create event, add vendors, send confirmation request, track responses, manage timeline, flag conflicts. Not full event planning software. Just vendor scheduling. $149 to $249 per month per venue. Event venues already have software budgets, and this prevents coordination disasters. Once one venue starts using it, vendors start saying, hey, this venue uses this system and it made everything so much easier. You're not just selling to venues, you're selling to an entire ecosystem. Last one. Idea 7. Equipment rental tracking for tool libraries. Tool libraries are community spaces where you borrow power tools and yard equipment instead of buying stuff you use twice a year. They're popping up everywhere. But they're tracking everything in Excel or using library software built for books that doesn't handle physical equipment. They don't know what's checked out, what's overdue, what's broken, what's available. Equipment disappears. Late fees aren't enforced. The experience is disorganized. The gap is rental tracking built specifically for physical equipment. Check in, check out with barcode scan. Condition tracking. Automatic late fee calculation. Availability calendars. Maintenance schedules. Not inventory software. Not library software. Something in between that fits their workflow. $79 to $129 per month. Tool libraries have tiny budgets, but they'll pay to prevent equipment loss. Equipment rental shops have bigger budgets with the same needs. Once they set up your system and get their inventory in, switching costs are high. They're not migrating hundreds of tools to a different platform. You're not just building software. You're building a sticky operational system that becomes part of how they run. Real talk. I just gave you 7 web app ideas. All of them work. All of them have real pain, real intent, and real gaps in the market. But here's what I want to know. Which one would you actually build if you had to start tomorrow? Drop a comment and tell me which idea resonated most and why. And if you think one of these is a total miss, tell me that too. I want to know what I'm not seeing. Because here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to reply to every single comment with the first question you should ask when you talk to a potential customer for that idea. Not generic advice. A specific question tailored to the idea you picked. So comment below. Tell me which one. And let's figure out your first conversation together. Here's the thing nobody tells you about building web apps. The best opportunities don't look like opportunities. They look boring. They look small. They look like problems that shouldn't even need software because surely someone's already built this, right? But that instinct, that voice in your head that says this is too simple or too niche or too unglamorous to be worth building, that voice is exactly what creates the opportunity.